them and the Bermuda Weather Service.
94.9 Bermuda. Hour 95.
And it is time now for Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
And good afternoon to you, Brother Dawn.
Hey, man, what's going on? What is going on?
A lot's going on. Hey,
Yeah.
It's like Marvin Gaye says, hey, brother.
What's going on?
Yes.
We should sign a contract, man, and go on the road. And you be the lead singer, I'll be the backup.
The backup might be the lead.
Maybe the lead?
You got that more baritone voice. Like,
Oh,
got
you
that
think so?
My voice is all cracked all up.
Okay, we'll switch it up. I get paid more, though. Lead singer gets all the money.
That's cool, man. I'll just handle your groupies for you.
Okay. And take care of the groupers, and I'll take care of the moolah.
Yeah. Good afternoon to the people of Bermuda. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Motion to Adjourn. As most of you know, today's show is about Bermudians in the UK. As most of us know, quite a number of Bermudians have moved to live in the United Kingdom over the last, let's say, 10 to 15 years. So we have two gentlemen calling in from England, jolly old England, to give us their first-hand account of moving to the UK, life in the UK, so on and so forth. But before we get to that, we just want to, as a people, as human beings, we just want to extend our prayers to the people of Ukraine who have, although that's literally tens of thousands of miles away from us, they are unfairly subjected to a brutal dictator invading their country and killing civilians. So that should not be unanswered by the powers of the world. So, good afternoon. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Hello. Who do we have on the line, eh? Is this Boris Johnson?
Definitely not Boris Johnson. This is Jeremy Blades.
Jeremy Blades. That's name familiar, mate.
Yeah, it should be familiar.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Blades. How you doing? Thank you for calling in.
Hey, so good. I'm here.
Yes, and I think we have your partner. Well, let me clarify. Your friend calling in.
You got to be careful with them words.
Yeah, I wanted to say partner in crime, but that would have gave a connotation.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. So, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And to whom do we have the pleasure of speaking to?
You're speaking to Nadir Saluki.
Nadir Saluki?
Yeah.
How you doing, Mr. Saluki?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing yourself?
All right. Thank you both of you for calling in. This is a series that we've been trying to get off the ground for quite some time, eh, Jeremy?
Hey, as I said, we will talk about the other things we were talking about.
Okay. But yes, so Jeremy Blades, born and bred in Bermuda, and Nadir Saluki, am I pronouncing that correct?
Saluki, yeah.
Okay, I'll just say Nadir. How's that?
Yeah, just say Nadir, man.
All right. Born and bred in Bermuda, both of you, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay.
There has more of a story than I do.
Yeah, I have. I've lived around the world, in a few countries as I was coming up. But yeah, I was still born in Bermuda, born there, bred there most of my life.
So which part of Bermuda you're from?
Well, I first came up on Cedar Avenue, but I've spent most of my childhood days in Hamilton Parish.
Okay. And who's your families back here in Bermuda?
Related on my mama's side, I'm a Brimmer.
Mm-hmm.
And my adopted family, Blakeney. And my biological father's side, I'm Rogers.
Oh, so yeah, as Bermudian as it gets.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
All righty.
Big family. So,
All right. You want to give a
related
shout out to
all
your
them,
family?
Yeah, shout out to everybody, anyone that's related to Nadir Saluki. We're all related, you know. Bless up to my mama, if my mama's listening. You know, she's the one that raised me and told me all the good things in life. So, yeah, definitely shout out to her.
Okay.
And definitely shout out to all the Brimmer boys as well, if anyone's listening.
All right. And Mr. Blades, you like to give a shout out to anyone?
Well, you know, big shout out to the family. They know who they are. The friends, all the, you know, people that I came up with from us 3 up until now. You know what it is. It's the joys of home. They know who they are. It's all good.
Okay. So what we're going to do is start off and talk about your transition from moving from Bermuda to jolly old England. And who's been out there the longest?
I think
I've been out here the longest. Yeah, I've been out here since. Yeah, I've been out here since 1999. Came as a student. Did my 3-year degree. Through some strange movements, ended up staying because I was offered a job and there was a whole bunch of drama with that. So in the end, I ended up staying longer. Then met my son's mother, as a lot of us do, and been here since. Basically, moved steadily north as I've lived here, and now in Liverpool. So,
you know, sorry, we don't say that. We don't say that word around here, mate. Just say you're north.
Yeah. I'm in Liverpool. I'm gonna say it again. I know there's a lot of Red fans out there, but
all right.
Big up to the ones too.
And Nadir, how long have you been in England?
I came here in 2007, so about going on about 14 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I came out here basically just for many reasons, but the main reason was I needed a change in my life. You know, I wasn't motivated at the time. Well, I was in Bermuda at that time in my life, and I wanted more opportunities. And so I made the decision to leave. You know, so I came to England and came here. The first thing I did was I looked for work, and here I am. You know.
Okay.
14 years later, I lived down south first, down in this south of London, and initially met a lass. Her name was Emma, and she was from the north side of the country, just about 30 minutes south of Newcastle. So I moved up north to live with her, you know, and yeah, the rest is history, really.
You still there?
Well, no, I've moved on to Milton Keynes about a year ago.
Okay.
But yeah, most of the time I've spent in England, I was up north.
Okay. So tell us, what was in short order, what was the transition like moving from warm, sunny, friendly country with actually colorful houses and friendly people to moving to England?
The first thing I noticed, obviously, was the weather. For me, anyway. I don't know about Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The weather and the fact you don't realize how far north this country is. In the sense of, come the wintertime, sun's going down at about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it ain't coming up again until probably about 9 in the morning, if at all. You know, that was and still remains the hardest part, if I'm honest. You know, it's still difficult in the winter when it's, you know, you wake up in the morning to try and go to work, it's dark. You go to work, you're inside all day, and then you come outside to go home, it's dark again. So you don't see the sun. I don't know if Nadir has similar feelings to that, but.
And Nadir, how did you find the transition?
Yeah, well, initially it was the weather for me. I had to, I think the first week, I think I got like the flu or something like that. Just my lungs were just like, yo, this is different, Not that I hadn't traveled to the States before or anything like that, but I never really stayed no long period of time in any cold places, So that transition part of the weather part was something I had to get used to. The British were looking at me saying, "You're wearing too many layers, man." I was putting on all types. I was long johns, 2 pairs of socks, jeans, gloves with those little. They had these little hand warmers you could put in your hands too. So the weather was one of the biggest things for me to get used to. But the good things were the opportunities for work was there, and the cost of living, in my eyes anyway, and how I live anyhow, was definitely easier. Was a breath of fresh air, go to the shop with X amount of money and get a good bit of stuff, compared to at home. And that was one of the second thing that I noticed right away. I was like, is this going to be enough? The last I went to live with, she gave me a list to go to the shop, and she gave me £20, and I was like, that's gonna be enough for all of this. She's like, yeah, you should have some change too. So yeah, that was serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of the main reasons for staying a bit longer was the opportunity, because I studied media and recording, and the recording scene at home has definitely evolved a lot more since I've left. So big up to all those guys that are doing the thing at home, creating and putting out quality products. So I stayed because I wanted to get a little bit more experience in that. And I knew at home that the market was really small. So it didn't make sense immediately coming back to find another job and get stuck in sometimes you might call it a rut, but stuck in the loop of working at home in something other than what I was hoping to be. So staying out here, some opportunities presented themselves, and that was the main thing. It was like things would just present themselves, and so through that I got started doing background work in TV, working at Carnival building floats in Notting Hill, doing a lot of live sound at venues in London and around the country, and around Europe as well. So then DJing kicked in, so I was doing a lot more of that. And as I said, I mean, in between that, I've done factory jobs, I've done the bar jobs, I've done all the terrible jobs that you got to do when you got to get a job. But all to an end, there's always a point to it at that time, and I think that's one thing when people do move here and realize, yeah, you can do literally anything you want to do. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be hard, and it's not going to be work involved, and things aren't all going to just lay themselves out for you.
All right, so let me ask this next question. Thank you for that. When Bermudians move to the UK, what should they realistically expect? I'll let you go with that one, Nadir.
Well, that's actually a good question, because I came here, I was ignorant, to a lot of things. Initially, I literally, I had a choice. I was like, am I going to go to the States, or am I going to come to England? And I said, okay, where's the red tape? Which one has the most red tape? And I was like, well, I'm British. I could go to England and work and just blend in, and that was not the case. I couldn't get a regular job right away because I needed to get my full UK passport. I didn't understand certain things regarding the immigration laws and stuff like that, so obviously my best advice to anybody is get clued up on all of that. Immigration, expectations, nowadays you don't have to guess anything, you can actually go online, look for what type of jobs in that area, any area you want to live, the cost of living in that area. You can look all of that up. And I would definitely advise anyone that is deciding to come to England for whatever reason is to make sure and do their homework when it comes to all of that. You know, I did, and it took me a good 8 months to figure out what I had to do properly to be legit in this country, working and paying my taxes and getting all the benefits that the country can give you. Not necessarily financially, but also work-wise. You know, legit work. You know, you know, like anywhere in the world, you can get little cash in hand jobs and stuff like that, but that's not legit at the end of the day. You know,
and it's not going to sustain you either.
And it's not going to sustain you, exactly. You know, and usually a lot of cash in hand jobs, you know, can be very, you know, not the best wage. It's like, so if you were legit doing that work, you probably make more. You know, so it's best to get legit, get yourself sorted properly, and then obviously there's loads of things once you have your full UK citizenship by getting your UK passport and having your national insurance.
And how long does it,
and whatnot.
in normal circumstances, how long does it take to, Jeremy, how long does it take to get a UK passport? And your NI card or whatever it is they call.
With COVID has definitely done a lot for that, but from
it can take anything between 2 weeks and 6 weeks to get your NI number.
Exactly.
And your passport can take anything between 4 weeks and 8 weeks, and maybe even 12.
Yeah, for your first one. Renewal, you can have a renewed passport in a day if you really, really want it. Yeah. But those are the important things, I would say. As Nadir was saying, make sure you get the official documents you need to work, because what a lot of us are finding through, you know, conversations and things is that a lot of jobs and employers, especially now because of Brexit and, you know, this whole difficult situation for immigrants thing that Mrs. Patel is perpetrating, is that a lot of these companies are very scared to hire people who have passports that they don't recognize. So what you're finding is you can get all the way through to, you know, interview stage, and then all of a sudden the employer's like, yeah, we need you to have your British passport and this and that. And
that's exactly what happened to me, yeah. Got the job, sat down at Human Resources, and then the guy says, oh, we're ready to hire you, but this Bermuda passport don't work. I'm like, well, it says British on the front.
Yeah, and that's when I was.
But that was pure ignorance. That was just pure ignorance on my behalf, you know. But,
yeah, because a friend of mine, he lives in the UK now, and he said that he and some family members were going to rent a place, and one of the family members had a Bermuda. Two out of the three adults had British passports, and one had a Bermuda passport. And just because the Bermuda passport, the landlord didn't want to sign the lease. So I'm like, I'm confused. I'm saying, well, as Nadir said, it says Bermuda, it says Britain on it. What's the problem? Like, you know what I mean?
And legally, and as far as, you know, all of the government advice and everything else, we should be okay. But as I said, what happens in the paperwork of the legalities and on the ground is sometimes quite different. So when you come here, you have to expect that people aren't going to know or understand anything about what your citizenship means. And they really don't care. And because at this point in time, you know, finding properties that are affordable and finding jobs that are sustainable is difficult, they'll just move on to the next person. They're not going to wait for you a lot of times.
Yeah. So all right. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to go to a news break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll continue the conversation.
All right, no problem.
The family farmers who own Welch's insist on making 100% grape juice with no added sugar, colors, or flavors. At harvest time, they pick Concord and Niagara grapes at the peak of their flavor and deliver them within hours to be fresh pressed into delicious Welch's 100% grape juice. Rich in antioxidants, our grape juice adds bold flavor and a nutritional boost to your diet. Visit Welch's.com for healthy recipes.
Just because Christmas has passed doesn't mean the savings stop, because Digicel believes in giving you more no matter the date. That is why when you switch your number to Digicel, you can get an additional $500 off of any device of your choice. With that savings, you can walk away with a brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max for free. So why wait for those other guys to have a sale? Switch to the network that gives you more all year long, because you plus Digicel equals better together. Visit our retail store or call 500-5000 today.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station. 5.
Now back to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
And welcome back to Motion to Adjourn, where we are having a conversation with two Bermudians in the UK. So, Jeremy,
Yep.
you're up next. Tell us about this very active Facebook page.
Yeah, so I started that Bermudians in the UK group quite a while ago now. I think we're up to about 3,500 members.
You said 3,500.
3,500.
Are these
Not
all
all in
persons
Bermuda.
who are in the UK or some in Bermuda?
Yeah. So they're not everybody. We're just having this discussion actually. With not all are in England yet or in the UK yet. Some people are ex guest workers who have joined, and then we have a few people who are partners of Bermudian citizens who are living here. So, it's still quite a few people, and of course, it doesn't represent all the people who are who are over here at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I started it because when I was here quite a while ago, and we were getting a lot of calls because there was a time when there was this mass exodus from Bermuda that I seemed to see. And we were getting a lot of calls between friends of ours who had been living there for a while. And we were like, it makes sense to create some sort of central place where people can just ask the questions they need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's nice to be called and be called upon, but it's easier sometimes for people to just go and look and see if they can find this information themselves. And then the other thing is, because moving here is a very personal experience. That's the other thing that I wanted to really push across, is that your experience is never going to be everybody else's experience. So I wanted to have a place where people could voice what happened to them, and then people who are looking to come this way can look at that and be like, okay, from all of these different answers, I can have some sort of idea of what the possibilities are for when I get there. It's, as I said, it's a big jump to come here. It's little things like if you're black, we weren't minorities in Bermuda. There were minority issues that we might have experienced, but we would never, we could always look at any point in society, in any point in the class structure of Bermuda, and see somebody that looked like me or somebody that looked like yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean you agree with everything that they do and say and whatever else. It's just, you see that. Whereas when you get here, it's definitely not the case. Little things like the diversity of school teachers is going to be different. The diversity of, people just walking around and milling around, and people in the shops and whatever else. So you have to, when you come here, you have to understand that you need to find your spot. And sometimes the people that you might call your people when you get here aren't necessarily going to look like you. So that open-minded thing was another thing was a bit of a shock for me, and it sounds like a little bit trivial, but it's like, oh, there are different kinds of European, you know what I mean? There are different kinds of white people, really, at the bottom of it. And I don't really want to say it like that, but it is that. I live in Liverpool, which is a majority white city, like a lot of other cities. But the people here remind me of Bermudians because of the way that they the way that they interact with their environment and each other. I'm still not quite sure why I feel that comfortable with these.
Did you
with
just
them,
say
but
Bermudians are like Scousers?
I it's a weird thing, and I don't know how to quite explain it other than, the way that we interact with each other in Bermuda. It's very much the same with Scousers. Bermuda is its own little tiny place in the middle of the ocean, and Liverpool as a city feels, the community that live here feel like they're in an ocean of English, and there's people that run around Scouse not English. When all the Brexit things were happening, and Scotland was like, yeah, we don't want to be part of we want to stay part of the EU. Liverpool there were active petitions saying, can Liverpool become part of Scotland? You know what I mean? So it's that sort of, we're ourselves and we're our own thing. I guess that's part of it for me. Other people might not feel that way, but that was one of the things that me moving here while I've stayed here as long as I have. Because go on.
Are you on the Facebook page there?
Yes. I was actually. I remember when he started it up, and actually before he started up, we were having conversations about this type of stuff. Him, myself, and Miss Todd, and we were talking about it because you had a lot of people calling us and other people that had been here for a while, new people coming over asking certain questions, and some of the questions we didn't have the answers to, and so this group was a really good idea because, as you said earlier, you had people who had gone through certain things, and it was like, hey, you could post your negative reviews, your positive reviews, and advice. One of the things I meant to mention earlier, we did mention the NI number and the passport situation, but you need those things when you want to get a bank account too. So, yeah. And you get a job, gets paid into your bank account. You want to have a bank account. So make sure anybody that is coming over here to get all of that, get all your paperwork sorted first and foremost.
And just on the bank account thing, beware. They may give you more hassle when you say, I'm from Bermuda.
Yeah, don't even tell them all of that. Yeah. Yeah, get your UK passport, have your UK passport, have your NI number, have your proof of address, and go in and say, I want to open up a bank account. They don't need to hear a whole lot of hula, how long you've been in the country. They don't even need to know all of that.
And
yeah,
it's specific.
Don't offer information that they don't ask.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I must admit, don't volunteer things. If you can help it, because as I said, the name Bermuda in England at the moment, and always, because of the whole Panama Papers and Paradise Papers and everything else, the banks are very wary. So as soon as you say, Bermuda, or you present a Bermuda passport, all of a sudden a lot of red flags start popping up for them. So beware of that if you're coming. And, make sure you have access to funds at all times, before you get your bank account, because as I said, there are certain, as we both were saying, there are certain.
Is there any way that the officials, so when you present your UK passport, how do they even know you're from Bermuda?
But this is where I'm saying, don't volunteer extra information if you don't have to.
Yeah, so
that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like if you have the British passport and everything, go ahead and do it. But if you have your Bermuda passport and it's the only one you have and you really need that bank account, then just be prepared for a lot of extra questioning.
All right, so
might not even get it.
So, gents, let's make a slight transition. Jeremy, apart from Bermudians in the UK Facebook page, what other events have been put on to bring Bermudians in the UK together? And if anyone has any questions or comments, you can send us a WhatsApp 599-0901. That's 599-0901. Questions or comments?
So quite a few years ago, myself and Mr. Beatnik Rubain got together, and we were doing events together for a while before that. And we always thought we should do something for Bermudians who were in England. And as I said at the time, you know, there were some Bermudians here. Most of them were students at the time, and there were a few others that were dotted around. But we started doing May 24th event. Started off on May 24th, and we all know May 24th is, you know, Victoria Day or whatever it is. So it's a holiday here as well. So it was a good timing for us. So since then, we did. I think we did about 14 of them. You know, yearly. Had a good time. Always had a good turnout. More and more Bermudians. We ended up having to do 2, where one was in Liverpool, which was, we tried to make a family sort of vibe, and the other one was in London.
So when you say how many people you started with, and how many were at the one by the time it started growing up?
This at the start, the first couple, we got maybe, as Bermudians, we probably got about 30, 40 maybe, not very many. At its height, I mean, that's not including, obviously, because we were in Camden. We got a lot of passing trade and that sort of thing. But at its height, we had something like 2,000 people pass through there in a day. We made a point of trying to ensure that we always had Bermudian talent on show. And that was the main push for that event in the first place. It was, you know, we as Bermudians, we produce some of the best entertainment on earth from our little rock in the middle of the ocean. So we tried to make sure we always had at least, you know, we always had Bermudian live talent. We had people like Bento, we had Zion, we had Marvo come through one year. And then whoever was here, we tried to make sure that they got a platform. So there are a lot of DJs that have moved over. Big up to those guys. I'm not going to say the name of the song because I can never remember if I get it right. But he calls himself Father Lion. I'll call him Father Lion because that's his DJ name, and I don't like to use people's governments if it's not normal. But there's a lot of guys that are doing events now, not necessarily for Bermudians, which is the good thing for me. It's that it's Bermudian vibe, Bermudian style, but it ain't just for us. So guys are coming, like Khalifa who's down in London. His latest event that I saw was Amapiano versus dancehall, or he's been mixing with the culture of London, the DJ culture of London, and basically DJing as a Bermudian in these events and DJing like he would for Bermudians. So if you're down in London, check out Khalifa. Khalifa's page. He'll show you some things on his page. He's got a lot of events that he's been doing. And that's the other thing about the Bermudians in the UK group. A lot of us have come out and people have started businesses. I can think of Sugar Shack in Warrington. I can think of Carla Zul, who's doing her magazine from her base in Manchester. I can think of, as I said, Khalifa down in London. And there are so many more who have just started to create businesses here. And what that group was for as well is to push what you're doing. If you want to sell some, you know, if you're selling things like Sugar Shack has been selling, you know, pop up a little thing in the group. Don't spam it, but you know, this is what it's for, so that we can support each other through our businesses and our patronage, but as well as have that other type of support that we always need. And I must mention that there is another Bermudian group that's for more private matters, let's put it that way, that was started, and it is available as well. And I'll make sure that link is in the Bermudians group as well.
All right, we'll go to a quick break and come right back.
This month, we're again featuring an important dealer in the whole food industry, Aurora Natural Products, who started in Connecticut in 1998 with 4 employees and now employ hundreds, all devoted to producing a wide variety of all natural and organic goods to an ever-expanding market. Aurora have become a national leader in the whole food distribution business and are ever mindful of the big picture, monitoring the path of each and every ingredient from their source to your table. Try Aurora Natural Raw Shelled Pistachios. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Have you been diagnosed with prediabetes? Act now to protect your health. Freestyle Libre helps you to keep your glucose levels under control with an easy single scan at any time. You can find it at the Bermuda Diabetes Association, located on 22 Princess Street in Hamilton, or you can give them a call at 297-8427.
Now back to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
So, gentlemen, I have a question for you who came in on WhatsApp. This one's for you, Nadir. Question for the gentleman. Is it true that you have to pay at least 6 months rent up front when renting in the UK as a first-time renter?
The quick answer is no. No. Usually you definitely need a 6-month lease at least. But this would happen usually, obviously, if you're a foreigner. Some private landlords will go that way. They will say because you're from abroad and they want the security and whatnot. So they may ask. That is something that some private landlords will ask, but that is not an actual requirement. And you can find places to rent that are just looking for a deposit and first month's rent. But the other things are you're going to have to prove that you can rent this place. So they're going to be looking to make sure that you actually have work. They're going to ask for maybe some references, a guarantor also. So might need someone that you already know that lives here that has some clout. Not necessarily some clout, that's actually already renting themselves.
Has credit, basically.
And have credit, yeah, definitely have credit. Sorry, that's what it is. They have to have credit because when they do the guarantor check, the main thing they check is the credit of that person that's claiming to be a guarantor. So that would be the main things: having a guarantor, having some references, and having an income. Okay. That's what a landlord's going to be looking for.
And then the 6 months rent thing can actually work in your favor in that sense, because if you can guarantee that you can pay the 6 months, then at least a landlord is more likely to take that in this environment at the moment than to take somebody who's going to go month to month for 6 months, because then at least they know they're not going to get stiffed out of their rent, which is something that's happening quite a lot, especially because of pandemic work experiences.
It's more of a security thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a security thing, but it's not a requirement, but you may be asked.
All right, so let's move on to, this brings us in line for the next set of questions. Tell us about some of the costs of living in the UK, like i.e., how much are you paying rent? How much are you paying groceries? How much are you paying for, everyday items? See,
this is one of the things I was saying about your experience is going to be very personal.
Yeah, it is.
Depending on where in the country you are, depends on how much your rent is going to be. Depending on what type of living do you want to have? Do you want to be in a new build place? Do you want to be in some 200-year-old house with big, massive windows and tall ceilings and whatever else? You can find literally the spectrum of living places. But the thing that you should probably look at first, especially if you have children, before you even look at, trying to find a house, find out what the schools are like in that area if you plan to send your child to school, because there's a lot of homeschooling going on as well at the moment. But if you wanted to...
Going back to the prices, though, still, like rent. Because, I know up the north side, up in County Durham areas, up in the northeast, rents are well known to be much cheaper. 3-bedroom houses up there, you're looking at, say, $500 to $600 a month, right? Where you get closer to the London area, so like say down in Milton Keynes, 3 bedrooms are going anything between $800 and $1,200 a month. You see,
Yeah.
so that's
Like-
But then
Generally, the further south you go, the more expensive it's going to be. That's a general idea.
All right. I have another question or comment came in earlier. Be sure to cover primary and secondary school applications. Bermudians moving to the UK with school-age children need to know the key dates and how to do mid-school year applications.
Exactly. And
that is something I've literally just had to go through. So basically, whatever area you are going to be, you're talking about like getting them into school and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, whatever council they move into, you can go on the website, the council's website, and basically just use Google. So it will be the name of the council and then .gov usually, .uk, and it will give you all the information, and it will be an option in there for schooling, getting your child into school, and then it has all the frequently asked questions and what you need to do. So within the first 15 school days, they are obligated to respond, because you basically told them that you have children that need to be in school. Mm-hmm. So they will then reply to you with what placements they have in the area, what school, what area, what schools in the area they have, space for, and then the process, then you get in communicate. The school actually will be the ones to contact you, and then the ball rolls from there. They ask you for information, probably your passport. They send you some documents to fill out, let you come around the school, check the school out, see if you like it, and move on from there.
So, which brings to this other topic before we go to our last break. For those Bermudians who have moved out there with young children or who have had children whilst out there, do those children see themselves as Bermudian or as Black British?
Ooh,
well,
I think that has all to do with nurture.
Yeah, I mean, my son lives in the Midlands, and if you ask him, he will tell you all of the things that he is, because his mother is part Irish, part Jamaican, by her mother, Jamaican by her dad, and then there's me. My mother is Bermudian. My dad is from Barbados, so he will tell you all of those things, and that's one of the things about being here is that because there's everybody here, that's okay for them to be this mixed up thing of what they are, because they can see around them that there are people like them everywhere in that sense. Not necessarily looking like them, but in the same sense of culture, I guess. But I
think it has a lot to do with nurture. Yeah, to each their own, like on that one. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. My children, I think, are too young. My youngest ones that were born out here. I haven't. I don't even. Actually, I'm going to ask them next when they get up tomorrow. Where are you? What are you? And they're going to look at me and be like, "What you mean? What are we?" I haven't had that discussion with them, I guess. They know we're from. They know I'm from Bermuda.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. If you're in a household of old Bermudians, then I think it's going to be easier for them to consider themselves Bermudian, because that's who they're around. But in my case, I'm the Bermudian, and his mother was born and raised here. So, it's about me telling him, hey, this is something that you are as well, and keeping him in touch with the other side of his family, basically.
All right. We're going to go to our last break, and then we'll come back.
You loved it last year, and it's back. Winner of the Best of Bermuda fundraiser, the PAL Step-a-thon. Join in on the fun. Help us help cancer patients of Bermuda. Walk anytime between February 20th and 27th and track your steps. Then enter your step count on racedayworld.com for a chance to win a free Garmin. Thank you to our sponsors, Clarion Bank, CG Insurance, Butterfield & Valves, and BF&M. The PAL's 34th Annual Walk, February 20th to 27th. Register now at racedayworld.com.
Plug into Digicel Plus and get Simply More at home. With speed starting at 150 megabytes per second and up, you can stream, work, game, plus more like never before. Enjoy a better Wi-Fi connection in every room with smart Wi-Fi. Get more power and reliability to keep all your devices connected. Enjoy free movies and TV series on demand with every TV plan, plus much more. Digicel at Home Fiber Network gives you simply more. Call 55011 to sign up today. Digicel Plus, better together.
Now back to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
Yes, and we're back. So, gentlemen, let me ask you this question. I've been to UK 3 times, and 2 times were in London, and my last trip was the first time up north, as you all say, all right? And what I noticed, as Jeremy said, there's many different types of people in England. And what I noticed is that the Caribbean, you have all the black people, right? You have Afro-Caribbeans, and then you have Africans, all right? And it doesn't seem like that there's a, how can I say, a state of unity amongst us, right? In other words, like the black Caribbean people or people of Caribbean background tend to socialize or whatever amongst themselves, and the Africans tend to socialize and whatever amongst themselves. Why? Have you noticed that?
I think there might be more reasons to that than, the we don't like you type thing.
I don't mean not in a don't like, but just unfamiliarity type of thing.
Just to clarify on it, it's a lot of it is language. African countries have their own languages. African tribes have their own languages. So some of it is that. Some of it is familiarity. It's the same reason that some Bermudians here always go and hang out with other Bermudians. It's that connection back to what your root is, or what you feel your root is. So, I was just discussing this the other day. Was when we come here as Bermudians, we have to remember that we're coming into communities that exist already, and how you blend into that is up to you. But it's a necessity that you do. It's just thinking of things like cost of living. It's when you move into a neighborhood or an area or whatever, it's better to ask your neighbor because there's so many electric suppliers and so many gas suppliers and so many internet and satellite TV suppliers. So if you ask your neighbors, who are you with and are they good, you get a better answer than you can always go online and find these things, but what's the best cell service in this area? Your neighbor's gonna know because they've lived there, and it's like, okay, this company I don't get any signal, but this company I do. So those sorts of things are best done within a community. So like back to the idea of Caribbean versus African versus elsewhere. It is a lot of culture, but I think a lot of that is shifting at the moment. Currently, I'm in a group in Liverpool. It's called the Liverpool Black Men's Group. And although there are many people with West Indian heritage, there are quite a few with direct African heritage. And then you have to remember there are children, there are offspring, if I want to put it in a scientific sense, of people whose mother is African and father is West Indian. It's same, in that same mix of things. So these newer generations, because they've been blurred a little bit more, and they're a little bit more separated from their initial places of living or whatever.
The root country.
Where their parents are from. Sorry. From their original countries, the separation is a bit more. They then start to look at, okay, I'm from this city. This is my background, and but their friends appreciate that a little bit more as well. So it's no more of, oh, you dirty person over there, or you're from small country, or any of that. It's they were all born here, so they have their culture and what their background is, but they're much more connected to each other, I guess, and they're less worried about what we were before. This is what we are now, I guess.
Yeah, so they say, well, basically, no matter if they're from Kenya or the families from Kenya or Nigeria, they're all saying, "Oh, I'm a Scots now."
Well, they'll say they're Scouts, but they'll still be like, "Yeah, my family's Kenyan, and this is what I am." But I'm also Scouts. And then the thing about like entertainment and music, and Afrobeat is massive right now. Amapiano is massive right now, which is African music. But you're not going to not go to that party just because you're not African. You know what I mean? It's just, this is the music, this is the culture of Africa. It's given kind of a little push to things like soca and reggae as well. And of course, reggae, I mean, that's another thing that's a little bit strange when you first get here, realizing that, that reggae that you used to hear back, like the culture reggae, a lot of those events, you won't find a lot of black people at. It's really weird. You find the odd dread here and there, but most of the people there are, middle-class white people.
Yeah, I saw this video, like Channel 1 song. I looked at they like shot the audience. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah,
am I missing something?
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's,
All right. Well,
yeah. Anyway,
gents, we have to wind on. One question. I'll give you one. I'll ask one question, and I just need a very short answer from both of you, and then I'll just let you guys give some closing remarks. Do you find many Bermudians who have moved to the UK not just saying they want to come back, but actually moving back home? Home meaning to Bermuda.
My answer to that is no. The Bermudians I've met, anyway, that's come over here, 9 out of 10 of them are not planning anytime soon of going back to Birmingham. Maybe to visit, but not to live.
Mm-hmm. And Jeremy?
Yeah, I'd have to say about the same.
Okay.
There are a few who are here with a focus and with a plan to go back, but that's not the majority of people. I can say that.
All right. So any closing remarks, any closing shout-outs to your families, the friends that are listening in? Shout-out to all the Bermudians in the UK.
Yeah, one love to everybody that's over here. I hope with all the so-called restrictions and everything, hopefully they get lifted soon. People get to move about a bit easier. But yeah, everybody just stay patient, stay safe, and one love to everybody. And obviously, what I said earlier, anybody coming over here, just do your homework first, and welcome.
Yeah, I'd have to say about the same. The information is there. Gov.uk has quite a lot of information on it. Ofsted is the school people. Make sure you do as much research as you can before you come.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do get here, understand that you don't have to stay in one place. If you don't feel comfortable in the place you're in the first 6 months, you can move. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just, get around and see the country, and then find your space, because there's space for you here. But I would also say, recognize what you're leaving behind as well, in the sense of, Bermuda is a tiny place, so there's things like just proximity to the teachers that are teaching your children. I always say, it's like you could possibly run into your son's math teacher in Marketplace just because you was there, and you can ask him the questions you need to ask him. But in England, you don't see the teachers outside of school. And as a general rule, you won't see them. Same with your MPs, same with your representatives, all them sorts of things. So just recognize that, and when you come with an open mind and an open, make sure that you know what you can do, because you can do it. We're Bermudians, we can do pretty much anything we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So big up, good luck. As I said, the information is there. Make sure you take it all in.
All right. Well, as they say in England, thank you, mate. Cheers, mate. Thank you for calling in. You were coming through crystal clear. I don't know if you're calling for app or what, but you was coming through. That's coming through crystal clear, right, brother? Doing
loud and clear, nice.
And thank you, thank you. As we know, I will close up with this. As we know, there estimation at least 3,000 Bermudians now in the UK. Not all are there for the same reason. Some are there for school. Some are there for further their career. Some are there just because they want to be there. But irrespective of why they're there, they are our people. And we on this show will do our best to continue to give them an avenue to speak, because you have a lot of Bermudians doing great things. I mean, you got a lot of Bermudian professional athletes over there now. So if not every month, every other month or so, we are going to have different set of Bermudians on talking about what they're doing over in the UK.
Right on.
And thank you for what you've done for Bermudians in the UK, Jeremy and Nadir.
Hey, just my people. You know what I mean?
All right. So, as they say, mates, cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Come on, cheers.
No problem. Have a
cheers.
good one.
As they say, cheers, fam.
All right, bro.
All right.
Peace, love, all that.
So, we've come to the conclusion of yet another show, and I'm quite sure next month will be our second anniversary. And so far, what we have lined up on March the 17th is Mr. John Barrett will be coming back with Bermuda Political History Part 2. And we'll let you know some lineups next week. But on behalf of Dwayne, Brother Dawn, and myself, and others in the background, we want to thank you all for sticking with us for the last 2 years, every Thursday at 5 o'clock. Thank you. And on that,
and you have been listening to Motion to Adjourn with MP Chris Famous and Dwayne Robinson.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.